Hello, everyone. My name's Lee, and I won the RIW 2025 Pauper Championship.
If you like what we do here, be sure to like and subscribe. Even support us on Patreon. Now let's go. Record button going. La la la. Doing the happy dance, doing the happy dance. What's up, Pauper Commander people? How are you doing today? Today, I have with me my man Lee, who just took down the 2025 RIW Championship, Pauper Commander Championship in Livonia, Michigan. And I have the distinct honor of interviewing him for his Winner's Circle interview. We have met a few times now, not really jammed a whole lot of games, but definitely have been in each other's presence enough to share the oxygen. I guess I went weird. I made that weird. I mean, we've been
really
close.
That close.
We were kind of close. I mean, if they say, what's that theory that people talk about, like whether or not you have like Van Gogh's DNA, not DNA, but like some of Van Gogh's elements in your body. You know, you'd never.
Not the talk I thought I was coming for. This is
anyway. I mean, you know how it goes. We get weird here. So, So with your tournament, so the things that I want to know about, the things that the inquiring minds out there want to know about is, first off, we'll talk about your the history of you and Magic. We did that a little bit briefly in the Patreon pre-show, and then effectively how you got to PDH, and then. So we do that macro view, and then we get into this rhythm of like, okay, before RIW, I chose this deck for these reasons, and I prepared this way. And that's usually the shtick. That's usually the shtick for how we do these things. Now, which deck did you play?
Yeah, so this is going to be the weirdest interview you've ever done, because some of those questions are there's going to be some answers that probably never been spoken before. But so I played Togo and Halana, played a couple of partners. It's essentially the elevator one sentence version is it's mono green Togo. There's a lightning blast or a lightning bolt, excuse me. There's an Oliphant, and there's a smattering of red cards, but it's basically mono green plus Togo is Halana. Halana doesn't show up some games, but Togo comes every game, and Togo and 99 green cards put in some work.
Awesome. Now, in fairness to myself, normally I travel to RIW. I did so the first 2 years. I didn't get to go this year. And normally I would return with those paper deck submissions in my hand. Right now, those are with Lee's brother, Dave. AKA Alcadron. So I'm waiting to kind of organize with him to figure out like how we're going to get those put out to the rest of you guys out there. I do have a link to Lee's deck list that I'll include in the description, so that way you can peruse the goodness that he is discussing at the moment. Okay. So that's the deck, but we'll get to that in a second. All right. So you started Magic back in 1956.
Yes, exactly. 1956. Go. So started Magic in the mid 90s. Now I was not there for Alpha Beta, but came in during Ice Age alliances. So I laughed at a few people who had snowlands for their pauper decks, and I was like, "Ooh, those are expensive." But when I started playing, they were just lands. It was snowlands. They had starter decks. You could get a starter deck came with a whole bunch of snowland, and yeah, they weren't expensive at all. But so I played, like Clay just mentioned, Dave Alcadron's my brother. So there's the family tie there. My dad and Dave and I played a ton, almost exclusively limited. Drafted kind of weekly, at least at the LGS. Traveled all over to do pre-releases. It's amazing now what a different world where every town gets to do a little 4-round pre-release, and they're just fun and not sweaty. We back then we would drive would drive hours. Sometimes we grew up in Michigan. The closest place was actually to drive to the Canadian border, get on a train, and go to Toronto. And that was actually like the best pre-release choice. So grew up doing a ton of that, Mirage Visions, all that stuff, Tempest.
Boy, have things changed.
Yes, what a different world. And what a different world to come back to. So then I go to college at a time with no spell table, no MTGO, no arena. Like there's paper Magic, and that's it. And so if you leave, I went to a college 400 miles away from where I grew up, and if you leave your LGS and leave your friends and your family that you play with, that's it. I can't. It's not a perfect excuse because then Dave went to the same college and didn't quit, but so clearly it can be done. But I didn't. I basically stopped cold turkey in college there, and then had kids. And there's a long version of the story, but the short version is kind of kids got into Pokemon cards at school. Have a grandpa who still plays Magic who said, let me show you some real cards. And then obviously then they got hooked on Magic like all kids do, and they see this stuff for the first time, and now it's back in the house, and now I'm playing again. And so hopped back on again, those local pre-releases now, which are just such a joy. And arena also, I play way more limited on arena than anything else, and that's just to have. There's 7 other people in the world somewhere who are also clicking draft at the same time I am. No matter what, at 4 a.m., 7 other people are also somehow clicking draft, and off we go.
The technology.
But I know what a different deal. But then, right, if you're getting back into Magic, and Dave, Mr. Elkadron Vader, is your brother.
Oh, wait, we forgot.
Oh, drink. Yes, that's the drinking game. So it's going to be a lot here. He's going to come up often, early and often in this. So when he's your brother, he says, so, I've got a podcast, and I kind of run this format. There's some guy, Clay, he thinks he runs it. It's really me. I don't know why he mentioned your name the very first time, but it was weird, but now I know. And so you should come play PDH. It's awesome. It's fun. And then I'm like, okay, whatever. But I like podcasts, so I'll listen to the podcast, but there's no way I'm going to play Commander. There's no way I'm getting back into constructed Magic. And then I listened, one of the podcasts talked about taking a draft deck that you like and just converting it into a Pauper deck. And the first ever one that I built, this was Dominaria United, and my favorite limited thing to do in that, there was an Esper Walls deck that had Wingmantle Chaplain as like the finisher of the Esper Walls limited draft deck. And I'm like, oh, uncommon creature. You can play 99 walls and get all the goofy walls from Legends and back when there used to be walls in every set. And
now they're defenders or something like that.
Yeah, I still call them walls. So that's part of the 90s old Magic in me. But yeah, sorry, defender, creatures with defender. So then I'm like, all right, let's do this. So get on Moxfield, get that figured out again through Dave, drink, and get to Wingmantle Chaplain deck built, order the cards, and now I'm off. Now I can. And it's just like getting into Magic for the first time. You get hooked on it and realize the joy of Pauper, and now I've built a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is a great time to so normally the folks that I have on in these interview series, with the exception of yourself and your brother, are like super sweaty, grindy, competitive minded folks. I'm not saying that you can't play competitively because you've obviously done so, but that's not foremost in your mind when you do play.
Yes. Yeah. So how did I get here? So how I end up as a competitive player, and I've literally never lost a game of competitive Pauper, like to put that out there. So speaking of Dave and his record there, it's not 5-0, that's for sure. But anyway, So I get in and I'm like, all right, I'm going to build some fun decks, and I'm doing the ridiculous finger quotes there. But so I start looking at it and I think, what will be fun for me? And I built like 7 different decks on Moxfield and ordered a few of them in paper that all had some horrific removal in the command zone aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I built Blood Tithe Harvester because Rakdos mid range was a pretty sweet standard deck at the time that I
Mm-hmm.
played. And I built a Ruthless Death Fang list that just edicts away everyone's board. Um, and I sent David a text with 14 exclamation points when I found out that Crypt Rats could be your commander. And I, in my head, those were casual decks. And they were casual decks because I didn't know what I was doing and I was brand new to the format. So surely then, like the flow chart was, if I'm new and don't have a clue, everything I do is casual.
Mm-hmm.
And then David comes into town for the first time. We were at my parents' house, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna play a game. I'm finally like actually gonna get to play with these pauper decks I've been building. And I play, I don't, it was either Blood Tithe Harvester or it might have even been the Togo deck the very first time. And he's like, this is cool, but you are the fun police. And like, I mean, if you know him, you know he would never say you're doing it wrong, but in like different words was like, you're kind of doing it wrong. And the joy of this is the, like, all 4 of us are going to have fun. Like we're there's a social contract to what we call a casual game that involves all 4 of us getting to play. And like you can't lock someone out of a casual game and then say that it was a fun experience for everyone. That's not how fun works. And
You just watch me,
coming,
Dave.
yeah, but so but coming from like when all you know is one-on-one magic, you're just like, it's just a zero sum game. My fun is like directly inverse to your fun, you know. And the more like the more powerful cards I can play that take away your power is fun. And it really took me a while to like grasp the social construct
Yeah.
of a 4-player game.
And I think that's where your strength is. So so obviously the way that draft sets, I don't hate to call them that, but not all sets are draftable. I think you would agree with that. But the way that sets are designed for the limited environment, there are archetypes. There's a consideration of curve and power at curve in those environments. And what I think is your strength is the fact that you play so much limited that you recognize you're very adept at recognizing those critical points along the curve and the tone and cadence of the game and how those plays dictate the amount of success or lack thereof that you're having. And I think you're really good at now. To your point, this is why you should play competitive, because you don't have to worry about somebody else's fun.
Right.
So, but your knowledge of the card pool is one thing that I think leads to your success, and then this other overarching like dynamic, being able to see that is likely another contributor to that. I bring that up because quite often we'll have boisterous people, who win tournaments, who talk about like, no, you just got to play fast and you got to do X, Y, Z. No. There are other ways to be successful, and this is proof positive of that. Well,
takes a lot of luck too. We'll get into that, I'm sure. You gotta
no luck.
You gotta run hot. Oh, it's no luck.
No luck, all skill.
If we, I don't know how much we'll get in. If we get into the individual games, I've got some stories. We will get into some luck.
Oh yeah.
The path, the final path to competitive then is so again, Dave, take a drink, looks at this Togo deck and says, you like this one could be competitive. This thing has competitive legs to it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't, because I don't have a clue. So that means it doesn't. And he's like, take out, this was 2023, 2024. Yeah, this was in 2024, excuse me. So last year, probably middle of last year, so about a year ago. He says, take out some of the quote unquote fun cards, and you need some enchantment removal, you need some graveyard hate, you need a lightning bolt, but this deck is less than 10 cards away from actually being something that could do some competitive work.
Mm.
And again, I kind of scoffed at it, and I don't have the spell table set up to play Sanctuary or anything there. So like, okay, fine. So I keep that in mind, and then RIW comes up, and I'm like, well, I have to play this deck that Dave says has got some competitive legs, and I'll make the changes that that you say will help it, and that's it. So that's how, kind of to finish the like full circle story on how that became the choice. It started with a casual deck with infinite removal built into it, and and then got told it could be competitive, and brought it.
So did you, after making the changes, were you able to practice any in the lead up? Did you goldfish or anything like that? Or is it all just thought,
So this is where the you're going to get some answers you probably will hopefully never get again on this show here. So I've got all the timelines all in the primer because it's one deck that I care about. So I've tracked all the changes in the primer. So I think it's last July when I make the changes to make it competitive. And then MH3 comes out. I added some cards from MH3. And then I kept the Moxfield deck list updated. So I was adding cards to the sideboard. As new sets came out, I'd review them and put them on the sideboard. But I didn't touch the cards from last July, and I didn't even play games last July. The last time I played the deck was Chicago 2024, and I played it in Chicago of 2024 only because I was about to go on the PDH pod and talk about the deck, and I'm like, I have to have at least played a game within months of talking about it. So I went and I made sure I got 2 games in Chicago 2024. I kept the deck list up to date. I added physical cards with MH3 was the last time I placed like a real order and put real cards in. And then I had what I brought to RIW was a deck that I hadn't played a game in 18 months and hadn't swapped any cards out in like 10 months. And I had a sideboard list. So the Thursday night before RIW, I go to the LGS. And I'm like, sell me these 10 cards. And at the hotel on Friday night, I'll decide if I actually want to put them in or not. These are my sideboard. And then I left that sleeve of cards at home and didn't even bring them. And I'm whining about this to Dave on Friday night at the hotel. And he's like, well, tell me what they are. And 2 of them he had in just a random deck that he had brought. So I borrow 2 cards from him that came up pretty clutch. My son opens his Edge of Eternity's pre-release kit and pulls out a Death Toucher. I'm like, oh, give me that. I need that. That's good. That's going in my deck for tomorrow. So the physical swaps from MH3 to RIW were 2 cards because Dave had them, and a Death Toucher that my son opened the night before in a pre-release kit.
So
that is my practice. That's my practice.
When you're good, you don't need practice. So listen up, scrubs.
Lucky. The word is lucky. The word is.
Okay, so the event this year, I think Dave told me it was 18 people.
Yep,
okay.
18.
So that's a little less than in the previous years, but still 18 people is still commensurate with any online offering that you would you find, and most physical places, physical tournaments usually have somewhere between 16 and 24 people. So it's also equivalent to that as well. Were you nervous at all?
I was incredibly nervous, and Derek and Brad show up to, Derek of the RC crew and Brad of the PDH pod show up to do commentary. And I told him, like, please be kind. Like, please, I've never played a game of competitive Pauper before. I've never played a game of competitive Commander anything before.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't, touched this deck in forever. Just be kind. I'm going to be a moron. Just please don't be too harsh. And then the sound booth at RIW wasn't working at first, so there actually ended up being no commentary. But I was very desperate to tell them, like, please just don't rake me over the coals.
I will
So,
be forever grateful if you were kind.
yes, be kind. By the end of it, I was there's like sweaty, the magic term, and then there's like you're just literally sweaty because you were so nervous. I was literally sweaty by the end of it with
Clammy,
with
yeah.
the nerves. Yes. So yes, very, very nervous, very clammy. Yeah.
Well, let's get into round one. Do you remember
Yeah.
now I think I may have briefly seen the other commanders there in a post somewhere, but I really don't have a full grasp because, like I said, normally I hand carry all that stuff. In fact, I still have the deck list from the last two RIWs like in my drawer here. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm a little out of pocket with what actually was played. So yeah, let's go through round one. If you recall who you were playing against, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
So I wrote it all down. So I'd have good notes. When Dave said you wanted to talk, we went to IHOP afterward. You got to get the IHOP in. It fits with 24-hour streams. The closest thing we've got to the Waffle House here in the Midwest. So did the IHOP and So round one was the family pod. So I had my son and Dave, and then we let one random guy in.
Who?
His name's Jackson. So yeah, there you go, drink. Sorry, I got the wrong who. So new, the one non-family guys on Glaring Fleshraker, which as soon as I see it, I'm excited. And it's a deck I do goldfish a lot because it's really fun. It's kind of like playing solitaire. You just play by yourself, and if you can get up to 30 damage in a certain number of turns, you say you won the game of solitaire. And if not, you probably lose. But Glaring Fleshraker absolutely went off, and on his Dave would remember all the turn cycles of it, but on his turn 4 or his turn 5, and he's ahead of Dave. So Dave only got 4 turns. This was my joke about him being terrible. So he
what an awful person.
So yes, what an awful person. So, and my son's on Tormod Ghost, which if anyone's ever played with him knows that's all he plays. So he hits on his turn 4 or 3. At some point, he hits Dave with Ghost because Dave is the one person who can't put anything in front of Ghost. So my son gets his whatever discard trigger, but it turns out to be very relevant that he took 2 life away from Dave because the Glaring Fleshraker drops Ashnod's Altar and then proceeds to absolutely go off. And they have Clockwork Fox and Friendly Teddy, and they're looping them with the mirror card that gets artifacts back. And it starts, and my original joy of like, this guy's my friend. He's going to take half the life of everyone at the table. I'm like, I'm losing my first game here in just spectacular fashion. And the Glaring Fleshraker finally runs out of gas with Dave dead, Max is at 2, and I'm at 1. and then I finally, Glaring Fleshraker finally draws into some land, which talking to him afterward, he ran 20 land in his deck and drew into 4 of them. So like when you're adding up the lucky stuff, there's like crazy luck number 1 is Glaring Fleshraker had to somehow run out of gas with me at 1 life.
20 lands.
Yes. He showed me his deck list. And
that's crazy by even my standard.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So 20 land Fleshraker as part of this insane turn draws 4 of them and finally peters out. And so I get to untap with 1 life, and then from then on, I can basically just lock them out of the game because if the Fleshraker's never on the field as a creature enters, you never take another damage. And so once you untap, it took a couple turns. My son gained some life. I threw some rocks at him and got him out. But then if you can untap, Togo and the Death Touchers make sure the Fleshraker is never on the field as a creature enters to put that final damage trigger on the stack. And I think a Heaped Harvest, I gained a little life. So eventually we didn't even finish that one, the Flesh Raker. I killed the Flesh Raker 4 or 5 times, and he said, "Good game." And
so
this is just there's never another damage coming.
So for clarification, the Togo deck that you're playing is like
yes.
a grindier, like mid-rangey, bordering control type deck.
Yeah. Should have described the archetype there. So this is like 15 Death Touchers, all the great green 2-for-1 landfall spells, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, Sky Shroud Claim, all the classic. Not very few of the 1-for-1, the true rampant growths, but all the 2-for-1s, all the fetch lands, and just try to get 12 to 15 landfall triggers per game, equip all the rocks on Death Touchers, and just have infinite. And what's really key in the Flesh Raker is a great example of this, just infinite instant speed creature removal. And I don't have any stack interaction. I have a couple return to natures, but can very little enchantment hate, very little other, but just infinite creature commander removal. And then eventually some stompy creatures, because you only have so many rocks to throw at faces. And so there's some 6/6 tramplers. Every set now has a 7/6 or 6/6 trampler with landfall. So they're perfect. If you need it, it's a land, but oftentimes those are just 7/6 guys that close out games once everyone's out of resources.
Oh, so, when you said landfall, you mean like land cycling?
Yes, I'm sorry, land cycling. Yes. The Slavering Branch Snappers and Battle Empty Rexars and Ancient whatever Timberlands, all those guys that if you really need a land could be, but they're really there because again, trample plus infinite instant speed removal means your opponents just can't. There's never a profitable.
Well, I mean,
block
they're great for the game plan because early they are land drops, late they are threats. So
yes, yep.
Sweet.
Oliphant is like the greatest one ever. So.
Yep. So what about round 2? You assert your dominance in round 1.
Dominance. Get lucky at 1 life is a funny way to say dominance. Yeah.
I mean, the glaring Flesh Raker pilot probably had dreams later that night about the guy who crushed him with Togo. So I mean,
yeah.
So round 2.
I got my notes here. So I'm in seat 4 for round 2. I was in seat 1 for game 1 too. So add that to the luck. Is if I'm not in seat 1, I probably don't have the resources to untap and deal with it. But anyways, now I'm in seat 4. Seat 1's Tadiova High Tide combo. Seat 2 is David and Kylosaur. So don't drink, different David, unless you feel free, drink if you want. But
to Ankylosaur, woo!
We're gonna have to take a bathroom break here pretty soon for Clay. So and Kylosaur is on Lorehold Apprentice, which is a tournament winner with a tournament winning deck. From I'm not sure when, but I know he won one.
With that early last year, so early 24.
Okay. Yeah. And then the last one is Trey Lassa Moondancer, life gain, green white. Selesnya. It grows and scries whenever you gain a life. So just Voltron, life gain, Voltron deck there. And that one was, so Tadiova tried to combo rocks kill Tadiova with the, they can get the land in play, but you can actually resolved a High Tide and had accidentally early on in the game went to play a different spell and dropped the Ghostly Flicker. So had the High Tide, had the Ghostly Flicker, had the Mystic Sanctuary, but can, if Tadiova's never there, then it, doesn't, that's a key piece. And again, that's that kind of that instant speed, just throw a couple rocks and stop the combo there. David on Lorehold Apprentice, he and I were the last 2, and I start the final turn at 23 life, and he went off, and I ended that turn at 5, and with the pingers and an attack, kind of an all out, like, because I had enough to kill him on the next turn. I had a Colossal Dread Mask that's just a ridiculous card.
Love it.
And so he knows the beaters are coming for him, is the only one left. So he kind of went, how much can I do? Can I get to 23? And got to 18. And at one point in that game, I got one Fangreen Marauder trigger, so that was the 5 life that I ended the game at. And then the Moon Dancers is kind of the, like, that is my best friend at that table, because if it ever comes at me, I can kill it. And and I have no problem. Like, at one point, Rancor's on the stack, and the other 2 guys are looking at me like, kill it now, and Rancor's gone forever. And I did think about it, but it's like, I just don't care. Like, Rancor helps
Why would
me.
I care? Yeah.
Yes, I want Rancor. I pass priority. And I hope this Rancor takes half of both your life, and it did. And the Rancor and the Trample, it went at David first, because Lorehold Apprentice can't deal with life gain, so those 2 had a little battle going on. But that's just that is exactly what I want. And I want the Moon Dancers to be around as long as possible, and to go after them.
So I want to highlight something real quick. So the way that you're categorizing that, like, Lorehold Apprentice can't deal with life gain. So now we have this scenario in the pod where you have 2 opponents who are into antithetical game plans, and there was this recognition of that. So their focus is on each other and less on you. So we talk a lot in the competitive sphere. We talk a lot about, like, threat assessment and kind of recognizing, I mean, we even reflect back on the old Who's the Beatdown article by So like, I'm articulating it this way because I'm trying to point out that because some folks may look at you and go, okay, a casual got lucky and took down a tournament,
and they're right. But go ahead.
But no, I mean, well, just because you prefer to play casually with the social contract, a system that's been imposed upon you by Dave, that doesn't mean that you lack the requisite skill set needed to navigate these high intensity environments. And I think on the other side of that too is that there's probably a lot more folks out there like you who are more casually minded, but do want to try to participate in, some of these more competitive events. And they're afraid that there might be some sort of like disconnect. Like, well, I don't normally think in these ways, how am I going to fare? Well, what you're doing, in my mind's eye anyway, what you're doing is you're kind of, maybe it's a little confirmation bias, but you're absolutely, annotating like the specific benchmarks that you're experiencing throughout the game in a very similar way that a person like myself would. So I feel that's revelatory enough to be able to like point out and say like, hey, look, we think more alike than you think we would. So yes, please. So Lorehold and this Trelasa.
Basically, Halana comes down. Halana got Colossal Dreadmask, and now I have a 9/10. Now I have a 9/10 trampling commander damage win con with, and I can remove any blockers at instant speed. And I have infinite mana to recast Halana as many times as I need to. And so there's a real inevitability to that finish there with Halana down. Halana is a 9/10 trampler. It's a problem.
Yeah, you know what beats life gain? Commander damage.
Commander, yes, and that was it. So that deck gained a lot of life. That was it. That deck, Trelasa went down to commander damage from Halana.
Okay, so listening to those first 2 matches, it sounds like to me for people who want to pick up your deck. So the primary game plan is to establish a Togo board state where you can enact some control type elements to ward off any combo people or like big abusive threats that are on the table that are not yours. And then it sounds like you have some creatures in the deck that can function as like the early land filtering and be beater threats at the end of the game, but also there's Halana.
Yes. Halana's ridiculous. So a good example, like Annoyed Altasaur should probably be in every green Stompy deck, and it's not in mine. And it's so every one of those finishers is a Krosan Tusker or a or a greater Tanuki
it does two things.
Yes.
Two functions.
And there's enough redundancy that you can pick the ones you want. There's more green trampling land cyclers than there are slots for that in the deck. So pick your favorites. But you're exactly right. It's always Togo first, or I guess I don't play any of the expensive Death Touchers. So 1 and 2 mana Death Touchers. And my, I don't know if this is a question coming later. We'll do it now. I mulligan for Death Touchers. Like if you don't have a Death Toucher, you have nothing. You have a bunch of rocks that you can look at, but they don't do anything.
They don't do anything meaningful.
So I play like 14 or 15 Death Touchers, and I'm willing to mulligan. I'll go to 6 to make sure I have a Death Toucher. And so turns 1 and 2 are Death Toucher. Turn 3, the best turns is Togo plus landfall turn 3. But you're like, by turn 4, you've got to have, and that's kind of the latest. You can do it better with a little ramp, but by turn 3 or turn 4, you've got to have a Death Toucher with a rock, and your Rattlesnake is established. And anyone who attacks you loses a creature. Anyone who threatens whatever, anyone who puts Spirit Link on their Thermo Alchemist is going to lose it. Like you've got to have the early answer ready. And the other piece that wasn't, that I guess isn't obvious, but kind of figured it out as I was playing these games, is it's totally fine not to throw the rocks. Like if the player before you ends their turn and you have a mana and a rock, just untap and let it sit there, and just keep the Rattlesnake. You don't have to make an enemy early. You don't have to throw a rock at someone's face and just tick them off for no reason. That 2 damage is not worth it.
I feel like you're talking. I feel like you're talking to me. Like directly at me. Okay, stop.
Yes, it's okay. Don't. It's not wasting a mana. It's a better. Yeah, write this down. Yeah.
but I want to throw the rock.
Yes. No, it's okay.
Mana efficiency, Lee.
No, don't throw it. There will be a turn at some point. They have to aim stuff at you, and then you will have it. But yeah, it's in terms of laying out game plan. It's that, and they're games. They're games I never played Halana. There's games where, like the life game, there's games where Halana's the best card in the deck, because Halana plus, I mean, Colossal Dreadmask probably the best card in the deck, but that plus Halana is just this inevitability engine that's going to win you the game at some point.
So I'll assume that the last game, so you went 5-0, the last game being the finals.
Yep, that's it.
In these last 2 games, because I want to be cognizant of time.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're completely good. So in these last 2 games, are there any notable like high points about? You said you got lucky. I assume you got lucky.
Yeah. So here's the best luck of all. So game 4, which we almost don't play. Game 4, there's 2 like local guys who just want pauper points in this RIW series. And they're like, let's just draw. And I say, I'm 3-0. I'm going to the finals. Sure, I'll draw. And the 4th player says, no, we can't draw. Let's play and have fun. So, okay, so now we're playing. So step 1 to going 5-0 is like, you need one person who just says, no, let's play. But then it's Karu Goldkeeper, Mayhem Devil, and me and a Stormclaw Rager. And Stormclaw Rager is another deck that I like to goldfish. I've got a Moxfield list. You're just playing solitaire. You're drawing your whole deck. And the craziest thing is Karu Goldkeeper player says, I'm not sure if this hand's very good, but I'll keep it. And then goes Swamp, Tortured Existence. And we're like, you're not sure? Not sure if that's a good hand?
Combo players are the worst.
Yes. So Karu Goldkeeper from the start has the Tortured Existence. I can make infinite treasure and can never find the payoff. And Mayhem Devil is the sacrifice payoff. So between the 2 of them, they have an infinite combo. But and Mayhem Devil also has Ashnod's Altar and a persist creature, but can't find the first day of class. So they each have they're each 1 card away, and they look at each other and realize, why don't the 2 of us take out these 2 scrubs and we'll just play a one-on-one game and see who wins this. And this is for me. So Mayhem Devil's like the worst thing about Mayhem Devil picks off 1/1 Death Touchers all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So all my control stuff is gone, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna play big creatures and try to beat down, and like total game plan shift. There's no control, and so I'm tapped out because I played some beaters, have no rocks, no Death Touchers, and they start the sequence to, I'll make infinite treasure. You aim all the pingers at these two, and we'll play 1-on-1. And the fourth player in the pod has the double removal spell because they're Stormclaw Rager. They've drawn their whole deck. The fourth player in the pod has the 2 removal spells at instant speed to stop the combo and break it up so that she and I get to stay in the game and continue on. And
what's her name? Stormclaw Ranger. I played against her last year.
Okay.
She was really good with that deck. So
yes.
in fact, her threat, her establishment of a threat at the table allowed me to win. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she also allowed me to win. So but if again, I'm tapped out with a killing combo starting that I cannot do anything to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got double removal spell, fights through the counter spell, second removal spell, stops the infinite combo, keeps us in the game, and then I had Halana was one of the things I tapped out for, and now I play some more beaters and use Halana to shoot down the combo pieces and get Mayhem Devil off, and kind of fight through it that way and end up winning. But no, it just when you talk about luck, like I'm tapped out. There was nothing I could do but just scoop up cards at that point, and she's got double removal spell to keep the game going. So, yeah, that was game 4.
Lucky.
Yes, that's the word for it.
No, she didn't.
That's the word for it.
She didn't have any removal spells for me. What she had was like a 18 something Stormclaw Ranger, and I look at the guy across from me, and I was like, okay, you can kill me, but she's coming for you next.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was enough. That was enough.
Yeah.
So you weren't supposed to play the round 4. You ended up playing the round 4. You weren't supposed to win the round 4, but then you won the round 4.
Nailed it. Yes, that's it. That's it. Yep. And then the finals had a Crypt Rats, which made it a little weird because you really have to very slowly, like, you still need one creature because you have to be able to respond to the lifelink spell on the Crypt Rats.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get Togo, you need 1 rock, you need 1 Death Toucher, but that's it, no more, right? And so I was able to do that, was able to respond to the lifelink spell, get the Crypt Rat, and the Crypt Rat still killed everything early on, got kind of 1 wipe, but was able to do it without them gaining life. And the other 2 players in the finals were Amber Veteran, which my dad playing David's Amber Veteran deck, and then Ankylosaur David made the finals too with Lorehold Apprentice. So
nice.
There's 3 of us playing go wide kind of weenie decks and a Crypt Rats player. And so all 3 of us kind of worked together to get the Crypt Rats player out of the game, and then that let the 3 of us have a game there with no Crypt Rats, as we're all trying to play pingers or 1/1 soldiers or Death Touchers. So yeah, work together, got Crypt Rats out, and then got
proceeded to square it away from there.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. That's it.
So how does it feel?
It feels great. I was like, man, I'm going to go 4-0 and just get crushed in the finals. Going back to being nervous, once I kind of realized, like, I've got Crypt Rats is gone, and I can basically lock out these other 2 decks that rely on commanders and creatures. There was a moment there. It's, you kind of realize it before it happens, and it felt great.
I just thought about something crass, but I'm going to say it anyway. So apparently, where RIW is concerned, you either have to be a member of the RC or RC adjacent to win it.
That's what I heard. I heard David was going for the win because had to keep the RC thread going there. But yeah, so we'll call this one close enough to the RC.
Well, I mean, if an RC member sweeps it up next year, then you'll be you're
going to get it. Yeah.
I mean, you've been there. Like it's tough. And hopefully my wife's not teaching like dance next year during this time. Anyway, no, I am super happy that you are sitting now. I would have reached out to whomever had won the event, but I'm super happy it was you because I don't know. Having known you and your family for a few years now, and kind of see you guys engage in the game and the format, and just like the absolute positivity that, I mean, even in moments where like you were describing your gameplay, where you were like, okay, I'm absolutely crushed here. Like, you always do so with like a little ray of like sunshine and hope. So I'm not exactly sure I wouldn't have flipped the table, but I mean, once again, we established this probably in the pre-show. I'm doing this wrong.
Yep.
So yeah, man, we're at 45 minutes. Okay. I think we can wrap this up with some concluding thoughts regarding the deck itself. So
sure.
You had made commentary earlier that you were somewhat of a horrible person and haven't really kept the deck up to date with like the latest releases. All of this like matters not because of the position that you find yourself in, but I'm prefacing it this way because if there were components of the deck that you felt lackluster in this latest experience, like what would those be, and then what would you seek to like augment to kind of tighten it up a little bit?
No, glad you asked. It's I thought about it that night, and the obvious one for me is the 2 mana green sorceries that just get 1 land, and even though they ramp the Nature's Lore, the 3 visits, they're just not worth it, because early on, turn 2, I want to play a Death Toucher, and late in the game, it's not that different than just having a forest.
Mm-hmm.
And early on, I probably would just rather have the forest than have to pay mana to get the forest.
Mm.
And so I never had one of those in my hand or drew one of those and said, "Boy, I'm glad this is the card I drew." So those, when I've kind of have the deck list locked now on Moxfield just to have it for this, and the way it was played, but I would want less of those. And I realized that I basically closed every game out other than game 1, which was basically I just kind of locked the Flesh Raker out and he conceded. But eventually what that game would have got to is I play a 6/6 Trampler and win.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I want more of those. I want less, a little way too heavy on the landfall, especially the 1-for-1 landfall cards. And there just aren't enough rocks to deal damage to players.
Mm-hmm.
You have to finish it with a stompy creature. And there were games I was kind of lucky to draw one late, or only had one and was the whole time thinking, man, if this gets killed, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm you're in that 28 turn,
so
the 28 turn game where I just draw a land and look at you. And so I wished I had more of those and less 1-for-1 ramp spells.
So the primary swap would be Rampant Growth for land, but also I think you're saying in consideration for, instead of Rampant Growth, just another of the myriad 2 mana land cycler.
Yes.
Because Tago plus land equals good.
Yeah. The two, it doesn't matter the steel, I guess the term, like the ancient Timberland, or I guess I'll do Balanti Rexor because that's the new one, and that's the one I know because I had it in the deck through David. But the Balanti Rexor is basically strictly better than Nature's Lore. And I didn't realize that till I played it. Like there's other 2 mana trampling land cyclers that I didn't have that would have always been better than Nature's Lore. There was never a time when putting the land directly into play mattered versus if that was just a forest, or even better, another land cycler that could be a forest if I need it, but But
well, and going back to your own your own point earlier about don't pop the rock if you need, if you don't need to. Yeah. Well, if you have in turns where you have extra mana, Nature's Lore doesn't allow you to search for a land outside of your turn, but the land cyclers do.
Yes, exactly. Yep. You're 100%. And all the panoramas are great. The Shire's Terrace, we've got this huge quantity of Promising Vein, these one and tap and sack and get a land that are just the perfect. You held up mana, perfect. I didn't need to spend it. Now's the time to crack the Shire's Terrace or the Promising Vein, get a landfall trigger end of turn. So yeah, that's what I wanted to be doing, and that's the obvious swap is more tramplers, less a few less green sorceries.
Threats, and really ensuring outside of the Death Touchers, the Death Touchers have a dual purpose in combination with Hago's Rocks, but everything else in the deck should have some sort of dual purpose.
Yes. All the creatures have to. Yep, absolutely, for sure. Yep.
Sweet. All right, so I can't remember if you mentioned this in the pre-show. So now that you have your winnings, you're going to get yourself a Edge of Eternities box, which you're going to immediately relinquish to your son.
Yes, I already came home with it. I just bought it at RIW.
Nice.
RIW handed me money. One side of the store got some money. The other side of the store, I turned it back into them.
Plus $1.
Yep.
For tax and all of that other stuff.
Yes.
Nice.
Yep.
I bought a couple of foil cards, cheap foil cards, but I rode that lump of cash all the way back home to Fargo. So we are different. Holy moly. Well, Lee, dude, absolutely congratulations. I loved hearing typically I don't ask about here in the last year or so I haven't really asked much about round specific stuff. Largely because at the time other people were conducting interviews and getting more into the specifics of that, and this time's a little different because I don't really have access to the list and stuff as I normally do, so I can't really provide that information. So you're my single source of all things RIW at present. So I'm certainly glad that you were able to. I think listening to your recollection of your events, if they don't pick up your list, they might be intrigued to pick up a Glaring Fleshraker and have some success with that. Or what's the raging Rager, Storm Rager?
Yes, Stormclaw
Rager. There you go. Or something else, or even you mentioned an oldie Tatiova.
Tatiova came back. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see that one. Yeah.
So just the way that you outlined your experience. Oh, and Lorehold Apprentice. I mean, for God's sakes, you've got Ankylosaur, in the final pod yet again with that list. And I recall some folks being confused the first time he won, but listening to you describe how in one turn he was able to deal 18 damage.
It's terrifying, and you never know what to respond to. So in my seat as he's going through that, is he gonna get to 23? And you've got the rock, but it's all instant speed, so at some point
he'll just go right over top. Go right over top.
It's just me blinking first, and he gets to put the protection spell on, or I'm assuming he's got it. And now not only have I kind of wasted my one piece of interaction, but I just added more spells to the stack to untap, the catapult and everything else to just deal me even more damage. So that deck's absolutely terrifying. Yeah. Sweet.
See, fear the FOMO, the retro FOMO is for real. We'll be there next year.
Yeah, I wish we could be in Chicago next year. That's what a bummer that is. So gotta find a con in the Midwest somewhere. figure out a way.
Whoa. Do you know something that I don't know?
There's no Chicago Con next year.
Really? I did not.
Now you know.
I didn't know. Is it because they're eliminating the spot, or is it because there's a different?
I have no idea. I just know 2026 is like back in Vegas. I forget. I'm going to do it injustice if I try to do it off the top of my head, but there is no Chicago next year. So RIW is the Midwest Pauper Get Together 2026. Just mark your calendars for the whole month of July, because they never know when exactly. But just block the entire month out, and whenever they decide to do it, that's Pauper.
Yeah, quit your job,
Get Together,
travel to Livonia, camp outside for the entire month.
That's it. Yeah, what a good time. There's the buffet next door. Just eat at the buffet and play Pauper for a month. Yeah, you can't beat it.
You can't beat it. Sweet. Lee, my man, you're not much on socials, so I suppose that people can comment on your deck list and you'll see that. Yeah. And then I suppose, this is what Dave is good for.
Yeah. There you go.
What Dave is good for is, if you want to get in contact with Lee, harass the hell out of Alcatron and have him
make it happen. He's on socials. Yep.
Yeah, have him personally relay handwritten messages to Lee, all the way from wherever Dave is at to wherever Lee is at in those various states, by hand, in number 2 pencil.
Right
Exactly.
Yes. So Clay had to walk me through each individual click to get Discord to work, to show the camera, to show. So if you're wondering if it's a joke, it's not a joke. I just don't have a clue about any of this stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, you're easily accessible through your brother. I mean, I reached out as soon as he told me that you had won. I reached out. I was like, hey, and then like within a few minutes we were linked up. So yeah, too easy. Easy.
Yep. We were at the IHOP together. Yep. Yeah. Reach out, bug Dave. But he's good for lots of stuff, not just that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a small list.
Right.
Love that guy. All right, brother. Yeah. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for watching. Once again, if you're interested in what Lee was playing, and also retroactively, if I get the RIW deck list in a certain amount of time, I'll put a link to those in the description as well. So yeah, man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it.
You got it. Until the next time, friends.